She was asked, "Noor, why is it that you're playing with a Mickey Mouse stuffed toy?" She said, "My cousins are pretty and they play with Barbie. I'm not pretty like them, so I don't play with Barbie, I play with Mickey Mouse." Assalamu alaikum guys. This week, Friday 29th of October, I'll be going for my first ever aid deployment to Iraq. Iraq is a country which I've been campaigning and raising funds for the best part of 5 years now, since I started at HRF in March 2017. And for those of you that haven't been following me for too long, this video is especially important for you. Reason being is that when I say a word like Iraq, if I mention a country like Iraq, many people don't really know what to expect. You may think of George Bush, you may think of 9/11, you may think of the war in Iraq, but no one really knows what's been happening in recent times. You see areas we work in such as Mosul, which has now been liberated, and now it's just derelict, uninhabitable ruins. Just imagine that they live in homes with no front face, 3 walls, a roof, and that's it. In fact, don't even imagine it. I'll put a picture up right here. You see this man, he's literally sitting on probably the only furniture he owns at the front of his so-called house. In his hand is the Quran. And what's amazing is he's literally living in rubble and dust, yet he doesn't allow dust to touch his Quran. Whereas you see the homes that we live in such immaculate condition, yet our mushafs are covered with dust. The people there say to us that now that the fighting has ceased, there's more people dead, trapped and buried underneath rubble than there are people living in the streets. Let me just say that again so it sinks in. More people dead, trapped and buried underneath rubble than there are people living in the streets. The neighbors that you once knew, the neighbors whose kids you saw grow up, the neighbors who you would send food to, the ones who you would celebrate the likes of Eid and other activities with, are now dead, trapped and buried underneath the same rubble of their own homes. It's so difficult to even move the rubble and get rid of all the debris so that they can excavate the bodies and give them the dignity of a proper burial. Like so many war-torn countries, we're all too well aware that it's usually and mainly the children that suffer. Children just like 10-year-old Noor, who was so close to being saved by the government forces that came to liberate her, her family and her friends. In the very last moment when she can literally taste freedom and is right in front of her just a few meters away, while her and her family are running to their freedom, a suicide bomber literally came in and blew herself up. Noor went flying meters into the air and crashed down onto the floor and was rendered unconscious. And imagine in that single moment, 19 of her family members ended up being decimated and passed away, including not only just her parents but also her little sister. In her attempts to return back to normality and go back to education and school and the likes of this, what ended up happening was not only her peers but also her teachers were bullying her for her burnt claw-like hands. This girl who, when she was visited, she was seen playing with Mickey Mouse. She was asked, "Noor, why is it that you're playing with a Mickey Mouse stuffed toy?" She said, "My cousins are pretty and they play with Barbie. I'm not pretty like them, so I don't play with Barbie, I play with Mickey Mouse." Imagine this one young girl who would spend her days dressing up as a princess and pretending to be a princess now sees herself unworthy and not pretty enough to even play with a Barbie doll. You'd think to yourself, why is it that they're still living in these uninhabitable, decimated ruins? The fact is this, my dear friends, they have nowhere else to go. That's why it's so important for charities just like ours, who actually have access to areas just like this, for the last 30 years have been at service for them, to come and help them in any way that we can. The core aim of my deployment coming up this week is to aid with emergency aid items in the likes of food, medical aid for specific cases, winter aid items as well, and also cash donations. Just £60 will feed a family for the entirety of 1 month, and we hope to feed many thousands while we're out there. Above these emergency aid items, we're also looking to what is sustainable for these people. We're going to be looking into building an orphan and widows training facility, which will not only empower the people there to become reliant on their own income, but also to steady their own economy, as well as rebuild their own city and country. We've already made a start on building this incredible facility, and I can't wait to show you guys the updates for that soon as well. But in the meantime, guys, please do follow me, please do share this video, and if it's in your capability to also donate whatever you can afford, and I'll be showing you guys the impact in just a few days time. Please donate at the link in my bio or the description of this video. I'll catch you guys on the other side. Thank you so much.